What is up, guys and girls? Welcome to the woods of Tahoe Donner, right outside of the Truckee. Today I was watching this video about multi-level marketing businesses and just the overall corruption and the way that these businesses just chew people up, spit them out, burnt out, basically making them commit hours upon hours of overtime, basically making them minimum wage employees. And they just ruin all their relationships, friendships, selling to their friends, family, probably burning a lot of bridges. And it kind of made me start thinking about how businesses treat people these days. And it doesn't seem like it's very healthy, and that they're using a lot of these MLM sayings like, oh, we're family, we're gonna always be there for you, put in some extra time, it's really gonna pay off, treat this like your own business. And it just seems like it's all so manipulative to benefit just a few people at the top. And it's sad to me. It just makes me think that humanity is going in the wrong direction. And not that I'm an anti-capitalist or anything, but I think capitalism is beginning to take a corrupt turn. And we're really starting to see it in this century with basically billionaires and billion-dollar corporations getting bailouts. And then when the normal person asks for help or a bailout, it's, you need to work harder and just dedicate more time and effort and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. We're all responsible. Where the wealthiest just seem to be the least responsible to their employees, the business, society in general, the planet, and the world. It's just these short-term profits put over everything else. I've also been somewhat following the story in Minnesota about the school fraud. And I hate to say it, but they're not the only businesses in the US committing this type of fraud. The schools I was at, they would bill for everything they could for these kids who were on a government program. It was like mandatory counseling, therapy sessions, medications, and all of this was billed above and beyond what a normal rate would be, just to make more money. And maybe not to the same degree of fraud like that's happening in other places. At least we served the students, but it's remarkable how much these places, they say they're doing a benefit for the kids, but it's really for the benefit of the school, the nonprofit, and then taking care of the, they call them the client, the student, was secondary. And it's really too bad that the agencies that should be looking out for others, especially the most vulnerable minority kids from broken families and parents involved in drugs, gangs, and just left them for dead. The state is kind of doing the same thing, but through these false organizations that just bill, take as much profit as they can as while they have the student child, and then send them off. Even when the kid runs away, they would just pretend like they're still there and just keep billing the state. I mean, maybe if it kept the bed open, that's a great thing to do. But still, I think authorities should be made known that we have a minor that ran away and we don't know where they are anymore, since technically we'd be their guardians. In a way, I'm glad I'm not there anymore, because it was just too shady. Too many things like keep on the down low, hush hush protocol. The wind is starting to pick up, so hopefully my audio isn't complete crap. Today I was listening to like a podcast, I guess, with Elon Musk, and he was talking about Uber, which I've been doing for over 11 years now. Long time. And he was talking about how all the drivers are a liability, they're a problem, and that Uber needs to get rid of them as fast as possible, and that his robo-taxis were the answer, because there's so many undocumented people driving on Uber now, and people are getting kidnapped and robbed and worse, really. And at first I was like, this is kind of an attack on me and my livelihood that I've been doing for a long time. But then I started thinking about the cities, and even the conversation I had once with a passenger about Waymos in San Francisco, and how she really likes them because she feels safer without the human sending her kids in the car. And I really couldn't disagree with her. I was just like, yep, I totally get that. In a city, I wouldn't trust a stranger picking up my child, and I would much rather have a robot come and pick them up. The robot doesn't have any agendas other than completing the ride. And so, with their insurance kind of just being a scam nowadays too, I think it's a smart thing to do. And I feel that this whole rideshare thing really has to come to an end. The corporate greed from Uber and Lyft, they're giving out driving credentials and they're not doing background checks on people. Or they're doing a background check and they don't care if it's a fake identity or what. It's John from Ohio, but it's actually some Indian guy or Somalian, Russian in San Francisco driving around. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to know that the actual person driving is not picking you up or your kids. And there's just too much chances of an accident or worse. And then this person can disappear because their real identity isn't linked with the Uber account. And so they run off and they're free. And it only benefits the highest up. The highest up corporate fat cats. And it's just putting all of us at risk. Even on snowshoes, this is like skiing. It's just so slick. But it's too bad that people are being stripped of being able to make a living. We're becoming a non-trust society. And all us in the middle, normal folk, you and me, we're kind of just paying the price. And this just isn't me like just venting. I don't feel, because these are real issues that are facing us. There's no real answer at the moment, it seems to get out. But I have faith that we'll find one eventually, and we'll dig ourselves out. Americans are very resilient. We're pretty tough, and we don't take shit for that long. Not forever, at least. Look at this view. I like coming up high over cliffs. It kind of gives me this sense of overlooking the whole scene of something. Having that bird's eye view. It's just I don't know. I don't really have the bird's eye view of society, but maybe of the climate and where I'm living, it kind of gives me that sense. And whether you're right or left, you can have these right-wing politicians talk about cracking down on immigration when they're heavily involved with these gig companies trying to find any loophole to pay them less, or to bring in someone desperately needing money and then having them do gig work at below minimum wage. So you have so much manipulation from those trying to take advantage of the government, which if these gig workers, gig companies I mean, and tent companies could take money and fraud the government, 100% they would. And I've always watched Patrick Bet-David. I think he's a smart guy, but how he got started in insurance sales is the scammiest shit that you'd ever hear of. He came over to America and he just scammed Americans, and he still does it. And now he's on his little valuetainment podcast saying, I'm such a great, righteous, right-wing person. He's already made his millions of dollars off of countless minorities selling his bullshit scam health insurance. And these people are dragged into his cult. And just look it up. There's interviews, and people's lives have been ruined by someone who says he's fighting for you. And he's just another clown out there taking advantage of all of us good, morally ethical people just trying to make it. And it makes me mad when some of us come out and we try to share the message, and yet we get yelled at by some boomer Karen who says we don't have all the facts, when she doesn't research anything. She knows who these people are. She listens to their talking points, the headline only, without looking into their backgrounds, how they made their money. And it's just, don't you dare knock down my idol. I bow down to these right-wing people or this left-wing person like a god. And they're all just scamming all of us, taking advantage, building up their own legacy, and they don't give a shit about our legacies, our kids, or their futures, let alone ours. We're being sold out. In my opinion, of course. I mean, my values, they probably line up more with the right than the left, but I just can't stand their hypocrisy and this whole I'm so righteous, but they've all made their money fraudulently, cheating the system, getting more money on the backs of United States citizens, saying they're not for immigration, but they're just bringing in as much of a second-class citizenship from South America as the Democrats say that they want. And you know what? At least the Democrats, they do fraud, they break the rules, they cheat, and they go, yeah, you know what, we did. What are you gonna do about it? They don't even deny it anymore. The right just plays this righteous game. The right is righteous. That's what they want you to think. Vote for us. We have your best interests. At least maybe Trump's interest is in his own legacy, which is tied so tightly to America that maybe we have a chance, because his ego will do everything possible to save America from becoming a third world country, but at the cost probably of forcing all of us normal people into a third world lifestyle, so that way they can maintain their first world lifestyle and we move into motorhomes, tiny homes, if we're lucky. I don't even know if this is good. I don't even know if I should put this online. People are probably gonna hate this. I don't understand why. But I don't understand people these days. Maybe we're just so brainwashed and we're NPCs now that whatever Trump says or Biden says or Kamala says, that you're on a certain side and you're gonna be like, yes, yes sir, yes, yes master, I'm in. I mean, slavery is definitely alive and well, and neither side's doing much to combat it. And I hope you guys know this is all in fun. Nothing serious. Just me out here venting in the mountains about life. Ugh. Walking on very, very dangerous rocks. This is so scary. You don't understand, like, this is so narrow and it's like a real drop. So yeah, just out here having fun. And I guess going against what I said I was gonna do yesterday is not venting, but I think certain topics justify us being a bit angry about the world, the way society's going, how our so-called leaders are handling themselves, and just not really having our best interests forefront at the head of the line, whatever acronym you want to use. So yeah, I came out here, I had no idea what I wanted to talk about. So the fact that I think I just made another long video, which I was like, I'm just gonna do a 5-10 minute video, probably a pipe dream now. Made it. That was one of the more frightening places I've stood upon. Well, this will be it for today. I am starting to feel the temperatures really drop, the wind's starting to pick up. But at least I'm glad I came out here, a little exploring, a little venting, you know. That's cool, the sun's kind of still up right there. Kind of shrouded behind there, but it is nice that it's not getting dark until around 6, which is great. Wish me luck today. Hopefully I don't freeze to death and die. There'll be no video tomorrow if that happens. So yeah, fingers crossed, survival remains intact. And with that, I'll probably see you guys tomorrow as a frozen popsicle.